What's going on there, friends and neighbors? I am Rob Reviews, and today I am going to be talking about my top 15 favorite records of 2017. Normally it'd be a top 10, but way too many awesome records came out this year for me to just seclude it to 10. This was actually the hardest list I had to make this year. But without further lollygagging, let's just get started. Number 15, Invasion, The Beautiful Stories. As I stated in my review, this record came to my knowledge very, very late in the game. But that had absolutely nothing to do with this record faltering in any way. I loved The Beautiful Stories. I loved it so very much. It's one of my more recent album reviews of the year, and it was essentially a record that I had been dying to talk about all year, but too much was going on and too many other records were coming out, so I'm really glad that I found the time to talk about it because it is a record that is not to be missed this year, or next year for that matter. Number 14, Gone Now by Bleachers. This was an extremely hyped release for me. I very much enjoyed Bleachers' debut record, Strange Desire, and the hype surrounding this record was met with all the beautiful words possible. In fact, Gone Now was originally my summer record of the year, but it got dethroned. But that doesn't mean that the album's bad. I mean, like I said, I had very high expectations for this record, which probably wasn't a good idea, but it met those expectations and even beat them. From sound, to lyrics, to everything in between, Gone Now was a fantastic follow-up to Strange Desire. Number 13, Gingerlies by Gingerlies. This was another late addition to this list, but after listening to this record just 2 times, I knew this was an extremely important record of the year. The dreary coastal town sound of Gingerlies, mixed with the lo-fi indie love waves that just emanate from every song on this record, Gingerlies is a no-brainer. Completely enraptured and entranced by every single track on this record, again, a no-brainer to have it on my list. I need more and I need it now. Number 12, The Canyon from The Used. The Used returned this year in a very, very, very big way, and a very, very successful way as well. The band reinvented themselves yet again with a brand new style, and what more is there to say? The Used have been pumping out great records since the beginning of their career, and that did not stop with The Canyon. The Canyon surprisingly dethroned a lot of my favorite Used records, and it managed to make a seat and a name for itself instantaneously. This was yet another no-brainer addition to this list. Number 11, Mass Seduction by St. Vincent. Now, one of the major charms to this record for me personally was not knowing that it was coming out. The record not only took me by surprise by being exceptionally amazing, but it took me by surprise that it even existed at all. I wouldn't say that's the main reason why this record is on this list, but it's got a lot to do with it. I really like being surprised, and Mass Seduction was the perfect surprise. Number 10, The Thrill of It All from Sam Smith. It's no secret that I absolutely love Sam Smith, and waiting for the release of his new record this fall was one of the hardest waits of the year. But after getting my grubby little mitts on it and listening to it over and over and over and over and over again, and it's still being played as much as it was when I first got it, The Thrill of It All is just one amazing record, one of the best pop records of the year, hands down. Everything that I was hoping would be on this record was essentially on this record. Even though now I really do wish there was a little bit more separation from the first record and this record still managed to wow me in many different ways and continue to wow me from October to right here, right now. Number 9, The Songs of Innocence from U2. Now, when Songs of Innocence released, it not only gave me the pure ultimate joy of listening to a brand new U2 record and actually loving it, the record actually brought a lot of new and old fans to the channel, and a lot of those people subscribed and commented and voiced their opinions, whether they were agreeing in my terms or not. I mean, I didn't really mind. That video essentially just showed me how dedicated the U2 fan base is. So it was a learning experience in and of itself, but Songs of as a whole is a record that I know that I will cherish for a better part of my life. It's an astoundingly unforgettable record for me. It's got hit after hit after hit on it, and I can only imagine just falling in love with the album even more as the years go on. And whether this is U2's rumored final record or if they've got more music in them, I will be here to talk about it. Number 8, Desire from Hurts. Another supremely hyped record of mine this year, a record that I honestly wasn't expecting to even come out this year. I thought I would have had a lengthy wait ahead of me after the release of their last record, Surrender. Surrender being an absolutely firecracker of a record. But for Hertz to come back after only technically 2 years and completely recapture that energy and that power that Surrender had, but to evolve with it and make it even better, totally unexpected. And Desire came out of nowhere and it completely surprised me. And I might as well say it now. Desire from Hertz is my favorite pop record of the year. I mean, with the lyrical content being mostly sad, but being given that sprinkle of just happy instrumentals over it, creating a very bleak / watercolored world around it, Desire just managed to do everything that every pop record that came out this year couldn't. Even the likes of Sam Smith. And I give Hertz all the credit in the world for that. Number 7, Low in High School from Morrissey. Morrissey was another one of those artists that I really wasn't expecting to drop a record this year. But he dropped 2 singles, the record finally came out, we were getting more music videos to this day. The Mose Man is killing it. I absolutely loved Low in High School. It might be because I'm a bit of a newer fan to the Morrissey world, but at the same time, I just can't deny all the ample amounts of enjoyment that this record gave me in all of its multiple listens. Number 6, the Revelations series from William Control. Now, these essentially were released as EPs, and the Pale EP was my #1 favorite EP of 2016, but all of these EPs do form a record, and I think it being one of my favorite records of the year is much more fitting than placing all 3 of the EPs as my 3 favorite EPs of the year. Revelations brought William Control to completely new heights with completely different sounds, and it was done exquisitely well. Unfortunately, Revelations would become the final William Control release, but what a way to go out by trying a whole bunch of different sounds, giving off some amazingly different content. It was just a 5 out of 5 knockout for each and every single EP. Well, I really do hope this is not the end of the dark and macabre maestro. Even if it is, he went out with a bang. And here we are, the final 5, the 5 major hit records of the year that left the biggest impression on me. Some of these you might expect, some of them you might not, but let's just get started. Number 5. Lingering from Sleep Party People. Lingering and another record that comes right after this one are 2 of the most beautiful records of the year. Both instrumentally and vocally, Lingering just evokes the most amazing sense of a dreamlike record, a nightmarish record, and everything in between. Every note feels like a cloud, every chord feels like the sky, every vocal piece, everything about this record just feels like it's one piece that's integral to making a beautiful, beautiful world. And that's essentially what Lingering is to its core. An extremely beautiful world that can only be thought up by the rabbit-faced man himself. Sleep Party People was another band that I was extremely hyped to hear from in 2017. And I was so glad that I was right on that prediction, because even though it's number 5, Lingering is a record all of its own. And the only other record to match that is number 4, which is Utopia by Bjork. I was very, very excited when I saw Bjork's Instagram post saying new music is coming soon. And when the record leaked and finally released, I was completely taken back by everything that I had heard off of this record. Continuing on from the likeness of Sleep Party People, Bjork gave us a brand new sounding record from her. Normally when you get through to a Bjork record, you're expecting multiple things, and most of the time you do get multiple things. But with Utopia being a follow-up to her last record, Vulnicura, the record maintained a very big stillness from Vulnicura, but has a completely new life around it. Utopia is a light, multicolored record that has so many very amazing songs on it. It's so layered in amazingness, and Bjork yet again completely blows the standard out of the water. I seriously think Bjork doesn't have it in her to make a bad song or to make a bad record overall, and that was just proven by Utopia. Heading into the final 3, these 3 records were the next level up of supreme. Number 3, Dark Matters from The Rasmus. The Rasmus wowed me earlier in the year during the spring with their release of My Paradise, and then they continued to wow me later on in the year with their weekly weekly releases of specific songs. But at the end of the day, Dark Matters came out of nowhere and completely impressed me. Not only was this the Rasmus completely reinventing themselves, this was the Rasmus completely reinventing themselves with little sprinkled sound style Easter eggs from their past records, ultimately making Dark Matters one of the most different records of the year. A mega mix of their past sounds combined with a new sound and a whole new onslaught of bonus tracks galore, Dark Matters was an instantaneous hit on this list. As soon as this record was announced, I knew that it would place extremely high on this list, and I wasn't wrong. It's my number 3 favorite record of the year. The Rasmus came back after a very lengthy wait, and the lengthy wait was more than worth it. Dark Matters, utterly fantastic. Record number 2 comes from an artist that I myself just found out about this year, and ironically, after I had found out about this artist, his new record had just come out. I am of course talking about In Love with a Ghost and his brand new record, Healing. This was actually the second release that I had downloaded from In Love with a Ghost, and I honestly didn't know what to expect with a 17-minute running time, but after listening to Healing only once, I completely understood where the record was going, and I would only further be sucked into the world that it was creating and be completely in love with the story it was telling. Healing is a short record, but it's short, sweet, to the point, and gets its point across without adding any extra sentences or extra chapters. Essentially, all you need to do is look at the track name and you know what that song is encapsulating. You know what story that song is telling. And a lot of people do question, how can you hold an instrumental record in such high regard? And believe it or not, that question does get asked a lot. But with artists like In Love with a Ghost and John Hopkins, sometimes you don't need vocals. Sometimes your music is just so good, so thought-provoking, and so beautiful, the inclusion of vocals would just ruin it. In Love with a Ghost, yet again, is a newcomer to my iTunes, and boy did he make waves this year. Here it is. My number 1 favorite record of the year. This record actually holds my number 1 favorite song of the year. Going through my iTunes, it turns out that I have listened to this song off of this record over 345 times since July. This artist's debut record was my number 2 favorite record of 2014, and I knew his next release would top a list of mine whenever it was released. And that time is now. My number 1 favorite record of 2017 is Sweet Sweet Silent by Sivu. The minute Childhood House went up on iTunes, I listened to it multiple times, and I just instantaneously had to make a video on it. I had been so anxiously awaiting new music from Sivu. I believe the last time I had gotten new music from Sivu was actually when he released The Nile, which I believe was in 2015? Yeah, I want to say 2015. And since then, I was just under the impression that he was still just writing and touring, recording, doing what he does. But it turns out there's a bit of a story behind why there was such a lengthy wait, leading to Sivu even questioning if he would even make music again. But thankfully Sivu jumped back and he released this masterpiece of a record. Sweet Sweet Silent, 42 minutes long, 10 tracks whole. This record is pure and utter perfection. It is the best evolution from one record to another. There's hints and glints of his debut, Something on High, in here, but most of it is completely overpainted with a whole new sound. Sivu 100% completely impressed me with Sweet Sweet Silent. Instrumentally, vocally, lyrically, this record encaptured me and ensnared me in this oh so beautiful web of different. Sweet Sweet Silent is the ultimate record of 2017. It is my favorite record of 2017. It is my summer record of 2017, and Sweet Sweet Silent holds my favorite song of the year, that being the song Flies. Sivu absolutely dominated 2017, and he's starting 2018 off with a brand new EP release. So hype. I could not be happier with Sweet Sweet Silent. I'm still waiting for my physical copy to come in the mail, and I can't wait till it does, because I'm gonna frame that thing and just tell people that come in and ask, why is that CD framed? That is one of the best records of all time. That is Sweet Sweet Silent by Sivu. Listen to it now. And that pretty much wraps it all up, everybody. Those are my 15 favorite records of the year 2017. Be sure to comment down below, were any of these records on your list? Were you expecting to see different records on this list? Anything at all. down below. Let me know. I'm going to be doing my top lists of 2017 all throughout the week, at least until Friday, because I'm going to be doing my top something EPs, my top something singles that are either a part of a record that'll come out in 2018 or just one-off singles, video games, and movies. So I hope you'll come back tomorrow and follow throughout the week with all of my top list of 2017 videos. And until then, I have been Rob Reviews. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.